In the previous video, we discussed about different parts of the single cell. So the different parts of a single cell are the outer covering of the cell, that is plasma membrane, then a thick fluid-like structure which is called as cytoplasm, and inside the cytoplasm, a conspicuous dense area is present which is known as the nucleus. So today we will be starting with the structure which is known as the outermost covering of a cell, that is the plasma membrane. So let us start with the plasma membrane. Okay, so it is the outermost part of the cell. Any living cell will definitely have the plasma membrane. Whether it is an animal cell, whether it is a plant cell, they will be having the plasma membrane. Now this plasma membrane is a structure which is made up of two chemicals which are known as the fats and the proteins, right? So the two molecules which make are the lipids, otherwise known as the fat molecules, plus the protein molecules, right? So what is the chemical composition of the plasma membrane? It is the lipid or the fat molecule, and it is in combination with the protein molecules also. Now, as we know that it is a covering and it must be playing some roles also. So it plays many important roles. In that, the first and foremost important role which it plays is the passage of molecules inside the cell or from inside the cell to outside of the cell. Clear? So in that respect, the plasma membrane, it allows a selectively few molecules inside and few molecules outside. It does not allow all the molecules randomly into the cell or outside the cell. That is the reason the first property which is exhibited by the plasma membrane is it is selectively permeable. Okay, it is selectively permeable. So this is the first property of plasma membrane. Now, what does the sentence says? Selectively permeable. Permeability means what? Allowing certain molecules through a membrane. Yeah? So that is the permeability property. When it is selectively permeable, that means it is permeable for certain molecules and it is not permeable for other molecules. So the plasma membrane will select which molecule should enter the cell and which should not. Similarly, the plasma membrane will decide which molecule will move out of the cell and which should not move out of the cell. So it is a selectively permeable membrane. Clear? So apart from other properties, this is the first and foremost property of the plasma membrane. It decides which molecule will go inside the cell and which molecule should not go inside the cell. So apart from this, the other properties, it provides a protection to the cell. Okay, it provides protection to the cell as it is an outer covering. So the inside part of the cell are well protected by the plasma membrane. Clear? And the selectively permeable property has got some other views also or other properties. The related properties are also there. So when the molecules are selected, in that sense also it provides some kind of protection to the cell. Whether the cell needs this type of molecules or it does not need this type of molecules. So another property, it exhibits the diffusion process. Okay, exhibit diffusion process. Clear? Now what is diffusion process? Diffusion can be defined as it is the transport of molecule or transfer of molecule from one place to other. But in that one place to other, there is one more condition. The transfer of molecules or the movement of molecules will always be from the higher concentration to lower concentration. So what is the meaning of this diffusion? Movement of molecules from higher concentration area to low concentration area. Clear? So movement of molecules from higher concentration area to low concentration area. This property is defined as the diffusion process. Now diffusion, a simplest example of diffusion is when you just light incense stick, agarbatti stick in the house. Then what you will find, if one place you have kept, then the fragrance will move to the whole house. Clear? So how it is happening? The place where you have just lighted the incense stick, that place is now become the higher concentration area. Now from the higher concentration area, now the gaseous molecules will start moving to the parts which is in the low concentration of the particular fume of the incense stick. So this is how it is the best, simplest example of the process of diffusion. So diffusion randomly for any molecule which moves from its higher concentration area to the lower concentration area is called diffusion. Clear? So this is a major property of the plasma membrane which facilitates the process of selective permeability. Clear? So selectively permeability is helped by the diffusion process for the plasma membrane. Suppose for example, if I just draw a cell, suppose this is a cell. Okay, so this is the nucleus, this is the plasma membrane, and a tiny blood capillary runs here. So blood is flowing in this blood capillary. Clear? So what happens? Just suppose we discuss the process of gaseous exchange, diffusion of gases, right? So inside the cell what happens? There will be more concentration of carbon dioxide, right? When the blood comes to the cells from the heart, it brings the oxygen in more concentration. So in the blood what happens? Blood will be having more concentration of oxygen. Okay? We already know that in class 7 you have studied about the transportation process and how the oxygenated blood or the oxygen mixed blood, it flows to different parts and the oxygen is distributed to different cells of our body. Clear? So in that way, when it runs through the cells will already be producing the carbon dioxide as a result of cellular respiration. Cellular respiration means the breakdown of the carbohydrate molecule to produce energy. Clear? So from where this CO2 is being produced in the cell, it is the result of the cellular respiration. Now cellular respiration produces end product as carbon dioxide. So along with our energy, the body also produces, the cells also produce carbon dioxide. Clear? So that carbon dioxide is undesirable for our body. It is not required by our body. So it is considered as a waste material, right? So this waste material, this carbon dioxide must be removed from the cell. So who is going to do that? Definitely it has to take the help of plasma membrane because it is inside the cytoplasm, right? So if it has to be removed, only the blood can remove it because the blood is the transporting system. If it can transport the oxygen to the cell, then it can transport the carbon dioxide from the cell also. Clear? Okay. Now this carbon dioxide concentration is more inside the cell and the carbon dioxide concentration is less inside the blood vessel. Now whose concentration is more in the blood vessel? The concentration of oxygen is more in the blood vessel because it has come from the heart. The heart has received the blood from the lungs. The lungs has received the oxygen from atmosphere. Clear? Okay. Now the blood is having high concentration of oxygen whereas the cell is having low concentration of oxygen. Whereas the cell is having high concentration of carbon dioxide produced as a byproduct of the cellular respiration and the blood is having less concentration of carbon dioxide. Clear? Okay. Now, how this movement will take place? The movement will take place with the help of diffusion process. Right? And the selectively permeable plasma membrane will facilitate this diffusion process. Okay. Now, the carbon dioxide molecule, as the cell is the high concentration area, blood vessel is the low concentration area. So, the carbon dioxide will cross the plasma membrane and it enters into the blood vessel. Clear? Similarly, the oxygen molecule are in high concentration in the blood vessel and in low concentration in the cell. Why they are in low concentration? Because they have been already utilized during the process of cellular respiration. So their concentration is very less in the cell, whereas concentration is high in the blood vessel. So the oxygen will move from blood vessel to cell. Carbon dioxide will move from cell to blood vessel. Clear? So now the blood vessel will carry all this carbon dioxide from all the cells and take it to the heart. Then the heart will again send it to the lungs, and there again the lungs will remove the carbon dioxide to the outside. Right? So when you breathe out, those carbon dioxide which are produced in the cell, they all will be removed when you breathe out from the lungs. Clear? Okay. So this is the property of diffusion. Now, when diffusion occurs only regarding to the water molecule, we name it in a different way. Clear? So diffusion of water molecule, we name it as the osmosis process. So the plasma membrane also carries out osmosis process.